Hey guys, and welcome to Sounds Like NYC episode 59. Our next guest is a musician who combines Latin dancehall beats with R&B vocals. Her songs have amassed thousands of streams and made it into some pretty big Spotify playlists. Her newest single, Aguanta, is out now. You can find her on Instagram at Gabi Diaz. That's Gabidiaz. Please welcome Gabi Diaz.
Hey, thanks so
Nice
much
to have you on.
Yeah, thanks so much. Yeah, thanks so much for having me. Definitely stoked to be here. So,
Awesome.
Cool. So how long have you been making music?
honestly, since I feel like every artist says this, it's the most cliche answer, but since forever. I feel like, singing forever, and kind of like when I was a teenager, I wrote some songs that I thought were really deep and stuff, and my whole life, honestly. And then it's still kind of like a little addiction of mine. So, that's, since forever.
Cool. So why did you start making music? Do you remember why?
Wow, honestly, I think that some people, listen to music passively, right? And if you're an active listener, there's no way not to fall in love with music and how it makes you feel and that kind of thing. So I think for me it was just the way that music made me feel, plus realizing that I had a talent for music and for singing, and those two things combined kind of made it such that it was a passion that I wanted to follow through.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Gotcha. So how did you come up with your brand of music?
I honestly, I'm from Puerto Rico, so I feel like I don't know how much I chose it, as it just kind of was very much a part of how I grew up. So I grew up in Puerto Rico, which in itself is such a unique culture. Because it is a Latin country, Spanish-speaking country, but it's also so influenced by the U.S. So growing up, I had you turn on FM radio and you'll listen to a salsa song or a reggaeton song, but then you'll have SZA on next, So that's kind of how everyone in Puerto Rico is inherently influenced musically. And so for me, all of those influences, as well as my Mexican heritage on my dad's side, were very important to honor. And I feel like for me, as long as I'm staying authentic to all those sides, that's kind of the brand. But for me, it's more just being true to who, just who I am as a person, and then translating that into music.
Awesome. Yeah, that's a really cool kind of perspective, because, coming from those two different cultures, specifically Puerto Rico, as you said before, being very Caribbean, but also being very American. Growing up, did you ever face an identity crisis at a certain point?
Yeah, it's interesting because I think this is true for a lot of Latinos in the U.S. And for a lot of Puerto Ricans in general, because we are a territory or a commonwealth, and so I feel like you're never when you speak good English and you have, you appreciate American culture, you're never Puerto Rican enough or Latino enough for Latin America, but then you're never American enough for the U.S. So you're always kind of in that weird cultural purgatory stage where you're just what the, can I curse here?
Yeah, go ahead.
what the fuck am I? And you are always trying to define that, but I feel that's where a lot of great music comes, is from that internal struggle of who am I, let me try and suss that out through some creative outlet. So yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. Yeah, so would you say that your music is kind of a way of kind of rationalizing, not rationalizing, but kind of satisfying or coming to terms with your dual heritage, basically?
Yeah, definitely. I think it's a way of celebrating it, because if you grow up a bit confused as to where you fit in, and that's a struggle for you, then at some point you are going to realize whatever I am, it is who I am, and that's unique and it's awesome. And so music is an awesome way to celebrate that. So yeah, absolutely, yes.
Awesome. That's really cool.
You do music in both Spanish and English in the same song. Is that a conscious choice? Do you consciously say, oh, these couple words, this line is going to be in Spanish, this is going to be in English, or just sort of how it flows?
Honestly, it's the latter mostly. As a Latina, you're used to talking in Spanglish. You start a sentence in English, de repente estás hablando español, and then you're back to español. It's back and forth. So for me, it's really however that sentence, that sentiment feels like whatever language feels more correct for that sentiment, that's where you should place the language. You know, it's like a little puzzle, and it comes together basically with emotion. And like, you're not trying to, you should never force. Like, if a line sounds better in Spanish, just say it in Spanish. If it sounds better in English, say it in English. Like, just go with the flow.
That's a really cool perspective. That's a really cool way of thinking about it. Nice. Yeah.
Did you do music like in school?
Yeah, like bands and all that nerdy shit that like everyone was like, oh my God, like the cool kids were doing sports and I was like singing and that kind of thing, like practicing the piano and it's like learning Christina Aguilera sheet music and stuff. Like, yeah, I definitely paid a dear like social price for that. It was not the coolest kid.
It's like paying off now, right? Like,
what's that?
It's like a paying off now, right?
Yeah, hopefully. Yeah, and hopefully it'll continue to pay off even more in the future. But yeah, I mean, you do what you love. Like, it's never something you regret.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Speaking of like, you know, kind of like doing like band in school and stuff like that. Like for like songwriting, like how do you like write songs? Is it just a producer kind of like giving you kind of like an instrumental or like is it more of like a collaborative effort between you and producer or you know, is it just you writing, producing the music?
yeah. So first off, like all sorts of ways. You know, there's not like one path that I've been like, wow, this one works so much better for me than this other thing. But I play the piano, so like I love the piano. Like I really do think that like different instruments, different settings bring out different songs in people, right? So like I'll have maybe an idea for a song and I'll be like, this, I feel like it can be fleshed out the best at the piano. So I'll go, like, I'll have a glass of wine, I'll set the mood lighting, like, my dog will like sit down next to me, I'll start playing the piano, like the song will come out that way sometimes. Or sometimes I'm like, I kind of want to write like a bop and like, I'm feeling like this like sexy vibe, like dancey. So I'll like cue up like a little beat from YouTube just for inspiration, you know, like look up like a J Balvin type beat or whatever. If I want a song that sounds kind of like J Balvin or lo que sea. So, yeah, so that's like another way. And then obviously once I get to the studio, shout out to, you know, producers I work with, like Mike Ross, he's in Woodside, and then like Joffred, he's my dude in Puerto Rico. So like I'll get there. So obviously it's very collaborative because like I'll only work with someone if I like really respect and trust their musical like intuition and judgment. So I'll definitely let there be a bit of molding in that stage as well.
What do you think about the influence that, you know, Latin and Caribbean music have had on like pop music in general?
Honestly, like I think it's high time. Like I think that it's interesting because we find ourselves in this like cultural, societal, political, etc. situation where like Latinos are such an humongous part of US culture right now, right? But they're being marginalized in so many ways, and like disenfranchised. And so I think that the fact that our music is being heard so loudly is kind of giving us that voice that we lack in like the political ecosystem. And so hopefully my dream for mi gente, my culture would be that our music can serve as a platform to get our issues and our needs out there. So I think it's wonderful. I think it's the most beautiful music, in my opinion, so diverse. And yeah, it's a really powerful thing, I think.
What do you want to do with your music as you continue growing as an artist?
Yeah, I think like as long as I can continue to represent myself faithfully and be authentic, that will hopefully be a way to amplify the voices of people who are like me, right? Who do speak English and Spanish, who are, you know, US and Latina and Puerto Rican and Mexicana and all these things. And hopefully that'll be a way for people that are like me who've struggled with their identity and their role in this, you know, big world to feel like they belong and like, oh, hey, like there's Gabi and like she kind of sounds like me. She has similar vibes, similar story. Like I recognize, I see myself in that. And like, hopefully that'll give somebody the kind of, how do I say it? Like just the confidence that they need to like go out and get whatever they want to get in life and feel confident, feel beautiful, feel motivated.
Cool.
Awesome. Yeah.
I think this would be a good time to sort of plug her her latest single that just came out.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, absolutely.
So let's, I guess, take a quick break. We'll play Aguanta and.
Aguanta. Sorry,
Aguanta.
I hold back on the accent just because like people start to get confused. They're like, "How do I say this?" And I'm like, "Calm down." But yeah, no, you got it. You got it.
Awesome.
Cool.
So let's play it. Boop.
You ain't hungry, yeah. He got 6 feet 4 inches of something I'm feeling. I got my toes just to kiss him, but he got enough women.
Hey guys, welcome back to this episode of Sounds Like NYC, and you have just listened to
Gabi's song.
Aguanta.
yes, that song, and so let's like talk about the process of that song. Like, what was going through your head when you made it? How was the actual kind of like process of the production, and just like give us like a background of that song.
Absolutely. So, yeah, for everyone that can't speak Spanish, this will be very helpful to understanding the song. So I'm from Puerto Rico, like I said. In Puerto Rico, like, as I feel like many other cultures, like we love to be together, we love to go out, we love to party. That's true of a lot of people, but it's especially true of Puerto Ricans. And so for me, like as a Latina, even just being in Queens, I'm like, I want to go out, I want to go on a date, I want to have a drink, I want to go to a bar, I want to dance with my boyfriend, I want to dance with my friends, like I want to do stuff, you know what I'm saying? It's like, but you can't do any of that in quarantine. It's like, I understand, like I'm not complaining about like all the rules and everything. It makes sense. But at the same time, you're like frustrated, like you want to do something. So with that in mind, I decided to write a song that's all about like, you know, geared towards specifically the Latin struggle during the pandemic, which is all about like that frustration of wanting to go out, wanting to dance, wanting to hang. You can't do it because it's not safe. So that's essentially where I was coming from. And I wanted to write it because I feel like a lot of quarantine tales have been told. Like I'm seeing a lot of people on TikTok and everything, like they're all a certain kind of person. And I wanted to tell the Latina side of the story. You know, This is how we Latinas feel during the pandemic. This is where our struggle is. This is how we're coping with it. And obviously how I'm coping with it. Like there's that line about like, oh, like getting wasted with my friend over FaceTime. Like, you know, I literally have been doing that countless times because like I can't see my girlfriends or whatever. Or, like they're back home to like be with their family during the pandemic or whatever. It's like, you know, what do you got left? Like go put on your jewels at home and take some selfies, like grab your dog, like whatever, dance in the mirror, etc. Like I just wanted to let all of those experiences out and filter them through this song. And that's kind of how it came about. And then I brought it over to my friend and producer Mike Mraz, who's again my dude in Woodside in Queens, and he helped kind of flesh out the melodies a bit. And I mean, I love the song so much. I think he loves it too. Just pitched it to Spotify for some like playlists and whatnot. And you know, like I'm just trying to get on people's radar because I think it's a really nice little song. So.
Obviously, like a lot more music has been coming out because of this whole situation, and definitely what we need right now is more uplifting music for sure. And like, that's like interesting, kind of like taking your frustration with like quarantine and like, you know, trying to make yourself happy, because I'm like the direct opposite, where like I just kind of like
tries to make himself miserable.
Yeah, but I just got depressed because like I'm like a very extroverted person, so I need other people to feed off of in order to like draw joy, basically.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So like I definitely respect you kind of like being like a self-starter and you doing the best to make yourself happy with like dressing up, doing whatever. But like
absolutely. Like you I mean, for me it's like it's not an option to just stay at home and like cozy up to a book like every day, or like light a candle or whatever, like watch a movie. Like I did that. I've watched everything on Netflix at this point. At this point I'm like, all right, when is indoor seating coming back? Because I need to go on a date, I need to like go have a drink, like, you know, and I get it, everything at its pace that it needs to happen now. I'm not trying to upset anyone, but you know, it's human to want to interact, it's human to want to like have those experiences, and so I just wanted to address that.
Have you like are you originally from New York City?
I'm originally from Puerto Rico, so I was raised there my whole life. That's my home. My whole family is there, but New York City is definitely my second home.
Yeah, so let's talk about kind of like the process of like going from Puerto Rico to New York City? Like, how long have you
Completely
been
different
here?
environment.
Holy shit. I hated New York when I came here because like I'm used to like being in a car and like there's space in places and like, you
Cars
know.
and space are like, that's overrated.
I mean, now for me, I'm like, I get it. I fucking love New York now. I'm like, I don't see myself leaving like in the near future. Like, you know, maybe down the road, sure. But like right now it's like, this is my home. I love Queens. But yeah, I mean, I guess the transition was like, culturally, it wasn't that hard because I feel like New Yorkers are very like sassy and in your face, and like Puerto Rico is definitely good training for that. They're a little bit like more neurotic here, whereas like Puerto Rico, there's like the islander, like more like type B personalities, like everything's gonna be okay, blah blah blah. Here people are like more neurotic, but it's still very like sassy and like energetic, and like Puerto Rico has that energy, different style of energy, granted, but there's a lot of energy. Like the place is alive. It has a life of its own. It's not like a little suburb with whatever. Yeah. So in that sense, that was a natural transition. And I feel like Puerto Ricans, you know, historically, we love New York. We love the city. And it's like, I don't know, like I think that there's such a big Latin community here as well that like it's definitely been a very natural kind of, I've very much made like my own little nest here. So it hasn't been hard. I love the city. I love how many opportunities. I love that like you can go watch an experimental play and then go and like have Korean food and then like hit up like a late night dembo party and then like go back to your apartment and then like wake up and do brunch, like get Venezuelan food. Like the amount of cultural experiences to like nourish your mind and your like expand your worldview or like in this city are incredible. Like I feel like that's the most that an artist could ask for, like personally.
That's kind of funny because at this point I'm like so fed up with the city that I just want the opposite.
Yeah, I mean that's fair.
Yeah,
I don't understand. I do not understand how you can get fed up with the city.
Her?
How you can get fed up with the city. I don't get it.
I don't understand.
I mean,
how you can. Like, come on, like.
I understand that. I mean, I understand. Like, there are definitely weeks where I do not leave Queens. Like, I do not take the freaking subway. Like, I don't do anything. I'm like, I love Queens. Like, I'm down to.
Could you repeat that? Could you repeat that again? That last line. What did you just say?
Yeah, there's definitely weeks where I'm.
No, after that.
I love Queens.
Okay.
What about that? Wait, what?
No, because he's from. You're not even from Queens.
No, well, I'm from like the border of like Brooklyn,
yeah,
Queens.
yeah.
Brooklyn,
So like East New York, yeah.
You're Brooklyn. Second of all, which part of Queens are you from specifically?
I live in sort of the border of Astoria and LIC, so like kind of like Astoria-ish.
Okay, cool. Yeah, because I used to live in like Ozone Park.
Yeah, Forest
like
Hills.
Rockaway, around like that. Yeah, Ozone Park, I think. Like when I was a kid, so I don't really have any real like memories of like Queens, except that I had like a very bad fall when I was like 9 years old.
Oh no!
And I had this huge gash on my elbow right here, and that's the only thing I like really remember from Queens. So.
That's unfortunate. I'm sorry.
Queens is dangerous.
No, like,
Queens just trying to kill me.
I don't like dick riding Queens. I just think that the fact that like everyone always focuses on like Brooklyn and Manhattan is kind of stupid because like Queens is the most diverse place in the world.
But those are only kind of like tourists. Like I feel like if you're a New Yorker, like you like recognize Queens.
Oh,
like
100%.
Yeah, like people know like the food in Queens is the best. Like I think that's gotta admit that.
I don't know about. I mean, most part I just eat halal food and like my mom's cooking at this point. But I do want to go to Flushing to try some like hot pot and stuff. So I agree with you there. Maybe
go there.
It's cheaper than like Manhattan, obviously, and stuff like that.
Yeah,
so I'll give you that. Yeah.
I love Queens. Like I don't want to say I'd live in Queens for life because like if I won the lottery, I would probably move to the West Village or some fancy place like that. But like I love Queens so much. Like I've really improved my quality of life since moving to the city. Because I feel like people in Queens are also like, they're not posers. Like, I feel like sometimes I go to Brooklyn and I'm overwhelmed by the amount of like expensive, what's it called?
Just outside the store.
Expensive consignment.
Just outside the store.
Yeah. I mean, you're like Williamsburg. This is like the center of like all that.
100%.
Like we were like going out to get lunch earlier, and David was just like going like on a rant about how much he like hates Williamsburg and stuff like that. Do you want to expand on that?
Okay.
So here's the thing, like it's a love and hate relationship, right? Because with Williamsburg, like, you know, we went to school here. I spent, you know, half of my life basically just coming to and from here.
Yeah.
So it has that good part in it, but just as a neighborhood in itself, it's so fucking shallow. And
I mean, but I like it here. I mean, I live in Canarsie, if you know where that is.
Yeah, of course. It's the last stop on the L.
That's the only reason it's known, right? But besides that, you know, Pop Smoke came from Canarsie. Rest in peace. So now we have like a few murals like around my grandma's house, apparently.
That's sweet. Like, why not?
Of, like him and stuff like that. But like, yeah,
you can fish in Canarsie, can't you? You can fish in Canarsie.
Why would? Yeah, but the thing is that why would anybody come from like anywhere that is not close to Canarsie to fish?
My grandpa used to go there to fish, but he's from like East New York, so he wasn't that far.
So he wasn't that far, but like no one's coming from like Williamsburg.
No,
from
of course
like
not.
Any like I guess like West Brooklyn
fair,
or like.
No one from Williamsburg goes past Broadway Junction.
That's true too. Yeah, that's like the threshold of like gentrification.
Oh, yep, definitely.
Broadway Junction. That's where you see the posers and the OGs alike.
That's how you know like who's actually New Yorkers.
Yeah, well, isn't Broadway Junction where the L crosses the A?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I know this because I lived briefly in Bed-Stuy off of Utica A.
Oh, okay, cool.
And I remember, like, when the last white person would get off the train.
I've never seen it that way. I've legit never seen it that way. Because,
no, it's crazy because like
God.
you see gentrification happening because like white people get off on like the next stop and then the next stop.
And then there were none.
Yeah, exactly.
That's so funny.
Honestly, I never went to school with a white person until I got here.
I mean, me too, yeah. Did
Yeah.
I?
Till-
I did. High school. No.
Yeah, till
Elementary
high
school.
Wow.
Hispanic and white people, I think, were like close. I went to school with, but yeah.
Like, how do you feel the city has changed you?
What's that?
How do you feel like the city has changed you so far?
I'm more shameless. I'm way more shameless. Cause like in New York, you gotta be shameless to get what you want out of people. Like if there's the restaurant and you really want to eat there and you like ask people enough, like they'll give you a seat. You know, I feel like it's the kind of place where like, or maybe they won't, but like you'll never know if you don't ask, you know, like you gotta ask. Like if you're lost somewhere or you have to use the bathroom, like literally the smallest things, you're just like, gotta be shameless, gotta like fight for your own interests. Like, I mean, not in a selfish way, but like you have to be shameless. You have to go for what you need and what you want in this life. And like New York, if you don't like ask for it, like no one's gonna give it to you. You have to be like, I need this. Yeah, like meeting up with people, like literally just today.
It's a struggle. Like
it's a freaking struggle.
Making plans, yeah.
100%. Like literally just today I was talking with this manager who's like way out of my league. He manages like big artists and stuff. And I was like I just want to get coffee with the guy and like I want to see what I can do. Like if I didn't ask him, like he would never be like, hey, do you want to can I like help you out? And like, can we get coffee sometime? Like you have to go and you have to be like, hey, like I want to like get to know you and like see what's up. And like, if we can make something happen, that like you need to do that in New York because there's so many opportunities.
That's like very interesting that you say that because we had another artist tell us the same thing. I think it was Emia before, like she was like telling us that the way that she like networks is that she takes people that she's like interested in out on like coffee dates.
Yeah, why not? Yeah, you never know like what doors can open, and in the music industry, it's all about like knocking on every fucking door and waiting for something to open because it's just like there are so many ways to get somewhere in this industry that's like you need to like literally just try and knock down every door.
How did you get on those Spotify playlists?
I think that it's just like when you pitch your music to Spotify, like so you have your release, you have your Spotify artist dashboard and whatnot.
Can you actually explain how you do that? Because I
absolutely.
like always thought that like Spotify just like, you know, somebody like curates it and it's just like randomly added, but I didn't know that you could actually pitch your
I mean, other than being a well-known artist or like pitching your song as like a more like emerging artist, as it were, like I don't see how you would get on a playlist. But for me, the process went like, okay, I have a release. Spotify gives you the option about 3 weeks before your release goes live to pitch it to their editors. And then all you have to do is kind of like, you know, literally pitch your song, like explain what the song's about, select genres and whatever, like moods, etc. And like for me, that process is like about like selling your song and like this is a dope song and like it has this and it has this and you could put in like this kind of like fits in this space and that space, so you can kind of start imagining what kinds of like lists it might fit on. So I think hopefully it was just a good songs and like I did a good job of selling them. That's hopefully, I don't know if there's some person on the inside being like, this girl, I don't know. But hopefully it just, yeah, I think it's just have a song that you stand by and that you love and sell the hell out of it. Like, believe in what you make and somebody will eventually believe in it too.
That's really cool. Is there like a specific website like that you have to go and pitch your song to?
Yeah, so all you artists listening right now, you can just go on your Spotify for Artist dashboard, and when you have like upcoming releases, it'll give you the option to pitch to playlists, and then the process is very straightforward from there.
Awesome. Good to know.
Yeah.
Did not know that.
Awesome. So I guess what do you want to leave with?
Leave with, okay. Yeah, I mean, definitely check out my stuff on Spotify. I guess just the point of making music is for people to listen to it. So definitely check me out on Spotify. Go check me out on Instagram and follow me. Let's be friends. I'm Spotify, Gabi Diaz, Gabidiaz, and my Instagram is
Okay, so an emergency alert. Okay, Amber Alert. Oh, Jesus. Oh.
Nice going, Daniel.
You're fine.
It's on silent, though.
Can you guys edit this stuff? Okay, great.
No, we'll keep it in. We'll keep it in.
Okay. But yeah, Spotify, Gabi Diaz, Gabidiaz. And then my Instagram is at La Gabi Diaz. So LA, and then Gabi Diaz, same way that you spelled it on Spotify. So yeah, definitely follow me on all that good stuff. There's a virtual performance that I'm going to be in for SOBs, the club. It's going to be on YouTube. It comes out tomorrow. So definitely check that out. Yeah, I mean, just stay tuned. Like, follow me on Spotify so that you can check out my new music. If you like that little clip that we just played, definitely follow me so that I can continue to provide you with some jams.
Lit.
Awesome. Cool. Well, thanks so much for coming on.
Thank you guys. Appreciate it so much.